Yo, what's going on, y'all? Mike here, Sports on the Real Shit. Welcome back to the countdown of the best players to wear NFL jersey 30 through 1. We're at number 18, and I'm going to tell you, this one was pretty easy. So if y'all ready, let's get into it. I'm going to start off right off the top, y'all. Like I said, this one was kind of a no-brainer, pretty easy. The best to wear number 18, the sheriff himself, one of the GOATs, Peyton Manning. And looking up Peyton Manning's stats, I'm going to tell you, this was one of the nastiest stats you could actually look up, man. Do some research on Peyton Manning. Like, this guy was just ridiculous in all facets, all right? So Peyton played 18 years, actually 17 because he got hurt that one year with his neck or whatever where he couldn't play, all right? So in between Indianapolis, and Denver. First of all, the man was an Iron Man, unbelievable. He played 16 games, 16 years. The only time he didn't play 16 games was the neck year, and then his last year in Denver where his body was just done. For 16 years, though, he played obviously started all 16 games. That, brother, is ridiculous. So that's the first amazing, like, eye-popping stat that jumps out at you. So here's some other stuff that's just mind-blowing with Peyton, all right? I'm going to just go through this stuff because it's ridiculous. 71,940 passing yards, 539 passing touchdowns, only 251 picks, 3,739 passing yards as a rookie is the lowest, was the lowest for his career until his last year in Denver when his body said that's enough. 13 times he threw for 4,000 yards, y'all. One time he threw for 5,000 yards. NFL record 55 touchdowns in 2013, and he only had 10 picks that year. 14-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 5-time MVP, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl 31 MVP, 2012 Comeback Player of the Year, All 2000 team, obviously a Hall of Famer, just one of the absolute GOATs. Peyton, man, he's one of those guys, like, by the time he was done playing, he had mastered the game of football. Like, you couldn't do nothing, you couldn't really trick him. Like, he just knew offensive football like the back of his hand. He knew where dudes were supposed to be, where they weren't going to be. So he was calculating, even though his arm strength wasn't that great. He essentially predicted what was going to happen so that by the time the ball was hiked, the ball was out of his hands, and somebody was scoring a touchdown. If you blitzed him and you didn't get there, it was a wrap. So you were really in a catch-22. Like, what could you do with Peyton? Really nothing. He had mastered the joint, man. One of the absolute best. Listen, my GOAT is Dan Marino, okay? I think he's the best ever. But if somebody says, hey, I'm going to make the case for Peyton Manning being the best ever, I can't knock you, bro, because he was like that. He had a gift, and his mind was amazing at what he could do. Like, pre-snap, he knew every single defense. You couldn't trick him. He knew every trick in the book. And like I said, by the time he was done, he had mastered it. He was one of the GOATs. And if it wasn't for his body breaking down, he could have just kept going because there was nothing really you could do with Peyton at that point. All types of records he owns now. Just one of the very best, man. He came out of Tennessee with all the hype. He lived up to it. The only knock people can have on his career was his playoff performances, which are valid criticisms. But even still, Peyton was that dude, man. He still won his 2 Super Bowls. And there's really nothing you can say wrong about Peyton Manning being at the very top of the list, not only of the best 18, not only of the best quarterbacks, but just one of the absolute best players to actually play in the NFL history. So shout out to Peyton, one of the very best ever. Having said that, we're going to keep going. We ain't going to sleep because there's some other nice players that have worn number 18. We'll start with one cat I don't really want to talk about in this number, okay? You know him as Randy Moss. He only wore 18 for 2 years in Oakland, all right? In Oakland, he had, 102 catches, 1,558 yards for those 2 years, 11 touchdowns. That's all right. But I don't really want to talk about Randy in the number 18 because for most of his career, he was in Minnesota wearing 84 and then 81 where he set all types of records in New England. I don't want to talk about number 18, Randy. I don't want to talk about the fact that, and throughout his career, he had 15,000 yards catching. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I don't want to talk about the fact that he had 156 touchdowns for his career. He wasn't number 18. I don't want to talk about the fact that the man had 10 1,000-yard season. He only wore 18 for 2 years. I don't want to talk about the fact that he led the league in touchdowns 5 times. Not right now. I don't want to talk about the fact that he set an NFL record 23 touchdowns in New England. I really don't want to talk about the fact that 6 times he was a Pro Bowler and 4 times an All-Pro. Should have had more, sidebar. I don't want to talk about the fact that in 1998 he was Offensive Rookie of the Year and he's an Hall of Famer. I don't want to, but I just did. Because there's no other number in the top 30 I could talk about Randy Moss. And he was like that. The best receiver I've ever seen. Sorry, Jerry Rice. I know you have all the numbers. People say Randy didn't maximize his talent, which may be true, but the part of the talent that he did use, he proved to be the best. Randy was the first cat I remember people double teaming off the line of scrimmage. And even then he was beating double teams. He was the first cat I remember making elite athletes look like they're not elite athletes, like they're bad players. Catching jump balls over double teams, one-handing balls in traffic. He was the first cat that I'm like, he's just on a different level. The size, the speed, whatever you needed, Randy had you. Short passes taken to the house against Dallas Cowboys. On Thanksgiving, he got you. He was a GOAT, man. The GOAT to me. The best receiver all time. Other cats may have better numbers, but there is no case you can make when watching Randy Moss and you're like, okay, somebody's better than this guy. He just had total package, athleticism, jumping ability, fast, hands, all around cat. And I apologize, number 18. I had nowhere else to talk about this guy, and I just had to. Because looking at his numbers for his career, I could narrow it down to just number 18. I apologize, y'all, in advance. So shout out to Randy, the GOAT receiver, number 18 for just 2 years. Oakland Raiders. Another great receiver known as Adriel Jeremiah Green. AJ Green came out with a lot of hype out of UGA, and he lived up actually pretty good career. Like, he had battled some injuries and this and that, right? Played 12 years, really 11 years played. Cincy 9, 2 years in Arizona. The problem with playing in Cincinnati is, you got to be great, like Corey Dillon I mentioned, right? Like your team isn't on the map. They're not winning Super Bowls, so people kind of underrate his career. He missed all of 2019 with injury. But the man had a total of 727 receptions, 10,514 yards. But he had better numbers than some cat in the hall right now. 70 touchdowns, 6 1,000-yard seasons. His best year in 2013, he had 98 receptions for 1,426 yards. 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second-team All-Pro. Again, if he was in a bigger market, he probably would have got some first-team All-Pro nods. A.J. Green was like that, man. Tough catches, run by you, run around. Like, he was just a complete package of a receiver. And he was drafted super high when he came out in the first round, and he absolutely lived up to the hype. When he was healthy, he was one of the absolute dogs, best in the game. Like, hands were impeccable. It's just that he battled some injuries, and as a result, people, take him, knock him down a little bit, take him down a couple of notches. But when he was healthy, one of the best in the business and one of the absolute best to have worn the number 18 in NFL history. So shout out to AJ Green for his NFL career. Recently retired AJ Green. Current players wearing 18. We got Randall Cobb, underrated cat, slot receiver, played a long time with Aaron Rodgers, 12 years so far. Green Bay, Houston, Dallas, back to Green Bay. 7,500 total yards receiving, 53 touchdowns. He had one 1,000-yard season in 2014. 1,287 yards receiving on 12 touchdowns. That was his best year. But again, shout out to him for being one of the best 18s. Most recently, and who I think has a shot to be up there. I don't know if he'll get to Peyton status, okay? Justin Jefferson has come out like ridiculous first 3 years in the league. Minnesota, 324 total catches, 4,825 yards, 25 touchdowns. In 2020, he goes for 88, 1,407. 2021, he goes for 108, 16, 16, and 10 touchdowns. 2022, he goes for 128, 1,809 yards and 8 touchdowns. And a nasty catch last year, several nasty catches, but the nastiest one I can remember is against Buffalo. One-handed, fourth down catch, throw-up ball from Kirk Cousins. 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. 2022 Offensive Player of the Year. He just came out. I remember he wasn't really starting his first couple of games. He wasn't playing like that, or the first game of that rookie year. Didn't get much burn, and then he just came out. I remember against the Titans. It was like his blow-up game where he just like showed out ridiculously that 2020 year. Shout out to Justin Jefferson, man. He's gonna, if he stays healthy, I'm praying he does, because I love watching this man play. His routes are some of the cleanest. He knows how to get open. He can run by you. His hands are strong at the point of attack. He is one of the best receivers in the league. One of the best number 18s, obviously. And like I said, when it's all said and done, Justin Jefferson is going to be one hell of a career. He's going to go down as one of the GOATs, I think, if he can stay healthy, in NFL history. One of the best receivers ever. So shout out to Justin Jefferson. So that's it, y'all. Quick and easy. Once again, that was all the number 18s, the best of the best. Obviously, I ain't got to say it again, but Peyton was that guy. He was the best, and one of the best ever. Not just 18, but one of the best players ever in NFL history. So I'll catch you guys next time. Appreciate you watching. Quick videos. I love doing it. I hope you're enjoying it as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Sports and the Real Got more to come. We'll catch you next time with number 17. Peace.